Oh, turn it up, baby. Yes, I am. Lord have mercy. The Art McCoy University Radio Show. The University of Common Sense. You've heard some commercials, but let me tell you something right now. I found out who broke in Mary Norton's office the day before the recall election. Of course, y'all heard the news. Mary Norton's office was broken into. And I got the scoop on who broke into Mary Norton's office. I will give you that very shortly. Listen, I have the perfect solution to handle Cleveland City Council. Since we're into politics right now, Cleveland City Council. Listen, because Cleveland City Council can't see fit to some kind of way help pass the $15 an hour minimum wage, they are doing and conniving every way possible to deny the vote, to deny it from happening, even going to the legislation at the State House. So the majority of city council really don't think honest, hard-working people deserve $15 an hour. They know we can't live off 7, 8, 9, 10, but they deny the fact that they don't want us to have a $15. They don't want us to have a living wage. $15 an hour is not really a living wage, but it'll help. We don't have to beg so much if we got $15 an hour. But City Council, the Cleveland City Council, have saw fit to block this move, double-cross it in every way. So here's my proposal. Here, I'm called the closer. You understand? If somebody orchestrated, I'm the person that can close it. And I'll tell you how I close things. But here's my proposal. My proposal is that we come up with a petition in which we go out and get enough signatures to cut Cleveland City Council's members' pay by 25%. All right, they're making $100,000 now. Let's get the petitions out and let's cut their salaries from $100,000 down to $75,000. Let's cut it 25%. And since they think that we can live, us hardworking people can live on $7 an hour, $8 an hour, $9 an hour, not even $10 an hour, let's cut their wage down 25% and see if those city council people in Cleveland can live on $75,000 instead of $100,000. And guess what? And make sure that they don't get a raise. And beyond that, what we want to do, because listen, it is, you know what, this is appalling to me that Cleveland City Council people would even think this way. After all, Cleveland City Council people are notorious double dippers. They have, they retire, get their pension, and go back and get the salary again, get the $100,000 again, and so they are notorious double dippers. We have several council people that have double dip, retired. Oh, that's not enough retirement. Go back and get the job back. But they yet think it's not fit for us working people to make $15 an hour to take care of our babies and our children, our lights and our gas. So I'm telling you, if you want to hit them in their pocketbook, then that's the proposal. Listen, you smart-minded people out there, you draw up that proposal, get those petitions, I guarantee you we won't have no problem getting them, because a lot of people don't think that the city councilmen in our neighborhoods are doing what they're supposed to do anyway. Hey, let's hit them where it hurt. They don't want us to get $15 an hour. We don't want them to get $100,000 a year for a part-time job. Oh, my brainy people out there, y'all get it together and we will work on it. Listen, I'm hitting you hard today, I know that. But that's what it's all about. Now listen, you all know that they call me the closure, you know? You know, the closure in baseball, Miller, you know, he was a closer. They'd bring him in the latter innings, the last 3 innings. and he'd close it down, the last two innings, last one inning, close it down. That's what I do. Listen, I'm going to give you some facts here. I'm not bragging, I'm just telling you like it is. Listen, I have participated in the ouster of 4 mayors, okay? You want to know who they are? Mayor White, Michael White. Oh, yeah. Guess what he's doing now? He is farming sheep. No, alpaca. I'll give him credit. He's farming alpaca. You understand? That's what he's doing. Listen, Mayor Jane Campbell. Y'all don't remember that? Listen, I am the catalyst. I'm the closer that made sure that Mayor Jane Campbell got out of office. Why? Because she wanted to listen to all the other activists, and she ignored the main activists who said that, hey, those police shooting and those police killings had to stop. And in the end, she came crying to me, but it was too late. You had to go. And guess who was urging me on at that time? Mayor Frank Jackson. Get her heart, get her heart. But that's for another story. The third mayor, East Cleveland Mayor Eric J. Brewer. Oh, yes. I definitely got him. You know what he had nerve enough to do after years of knowing me? He had nerve enough to close my barbershop on a Christmas Eve. Had my poor daughter running, crying across the street from McCall's Motel. Let me all got my dad in handcuffs. My wife, who was pregnant at the time, run up there and saw them taking me out of the barber shop in handcuffs, Christmas Eve. And guess what happened after that? Then the no-good Mayor Brewer put a sign across my barber shop that said drug-free on Christmas Eve. Can you believe this? Guess what happened to him? You don't do that to Art McCoy and get away with it. I ran him out of town in high-heel shoes and a miniskirt. Check the record. Check the record. And guess what? Oh, yeah, I let him come back. I let him come back. But check the record. I got one more for you. Mayor Gary Norton. Oh, by the way, Mayor Gary Norton was with me when I got rid of the closure of Eric Brewer. Oh, we thought Mayor Gary Norton was going to be something special, young mayor, young ideas. We all know how that turned out. Probably the worst of them all. Guess what? The closure. He's gone. He's gone. He's gone. Now listen. Let me make this very clear to you. Being a closure is not a starter. I did not start most of these efforts. But when they needed someone to close it, they called in me. Instead of Miller, they called in me. Say, come on in here. You're the closer, you know. And I closed the deal the same way I closed the deal on Mayor Norton. Listen, Devin Branch and Miss Stanberry, they're the one that did all the work, made all the effort. They're the one that got the initial petitions, put their name on them. All they needed was a closure. And I was able to come in and close it. So don't tell me that these Cleveland City Council people aren't shaking in their boots because they want all the money they can get, the double dippers, many of them. But they don't want the regular people, the hard-working people, to make $15 an hour. They've said so publicly and went through the legislation under President Kelly. Said, no, we ain't going to give them no $15 an hour. Let them keep begging for crumbs. Let them keep working for crumbs. Oh, my goodness. This is the Art McCoy University Radio Show, 216-578-1490. Listen, my daddy didn't sell me up to come in. Whatever official title or capacity she represents, for the former Mayor Norton of East Cleveland, based on her written brief to the Ohio Supreme Court asking for the dismissal of the Honorable Judge Dawson of East Cleveland concerning the trial case of Mayor Gary Norton versus Devin Branch. Let me tell you something, folks. A simple case that have somehow turned into a nightmare of lies, deceit on behalf of the former mayor of East Cleveland. This written statement, this written deposition, listen, is full of lies and slander. The whole process, the whole procedure accusing the judge of being biased and intimidated by Mr. Branch and his entourage of protesters, man, all this is lies. And it even mentioned the fact that they thought this was all tied into the break-in of the mayor's office. Listen, you won't believe this report until you see it. You will not believe the slander and lies that was written on this piece of paper for one simple reason. They want Judge Dawson. They wanted Judge Dawson. He's off the case now. They wanted Judge Dawson of East Cleveland off the case in which Mayor Norton has accused citizen Devin Branch of an assault. A clipboard fell out of his hand and accused him of assault. A simple charge that wound up with a $10,000 bond. This was also in the written deposition that they were complaining that the original $10,000 bond, someone in the Devin Branch entourage pressured Judge Dawson to reduce the bond to a smaller amount. This is all in the deposition on why why Judge Dawson shouldn't hear the case between the former Mayor Norton and East Cleveland citizen Devin Branch. This is so ridiculous. This is just so absurd. I would have thought that somewhere point in sometime a former Mayor Norton would have came to his senses and said, man, this ain't nothing. Drop them charges. Let's move on with our life. Instead, man, he's trying to get an educator, man. He's trying to get an educated man, a substitute teacher whose career depends on staying clean, no record. Never had a record in his life, yet he's pursuing this to that percent. It's absolutely ludicrous to me that this case has went this far, and I surely hope that this man comes to his mind somewhere and realize that this is really ridiculous and petty.
It's almost like a reality TV show.
It absolutely is, man. But what I can't believe is that a lawyer, a prosecutor, would write such a vile language document and send it to the Ohio Supreme Court, which is on record. She'll have to prove these allegations. Man, this is really deep. I can't believe it. I'll tell you right now. I had a lot of respect for that person, but I don't have any respect anymore. Because if she can do this in a case like this, man, think of how many other cases she might have did it to. Tomorrow is the 19th, and that is the day, if the judge agrees, this young man, 21-year-old, Douglas Shine Jr., will be the youngest person on death row. Listen, the jury has recommended the death penalty for the shooter in the barbershop killing. The chalk line barbershop. It's vivid in my mind, the chalk line barbershop, as we stood out there with the families of those loved ones who had been murdered It was a massacre inside the Chalkline Barbershop on Warrensville and Harvard. It was a real massacre. And the accused killer, well, the convicted killer now, Douglas Shine Jr., he's 21 now. I think he must have been about 19. He's been down. He had to be at least 20, 19 or 20 when this happened. He's been in jail a while. But nevertheless, so we're going to have the dubious distinction of this young man, 21 years old, will be the youngest man on death row. Now, I make no bones about it that the crimes this young man was convicted of was heinous. Blood everywhere. 3 people shot dead inside Chalkline Barbershop. Terrible scene. The visual that we did was something. I can feel the rain as it come down now as we stood outside of the Chalkline Barbershop. Many people was afraid to come to do that visual, but yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadows of death, I shall fear no evil, because God is with me. So we did the visual. A short time later, we would do another vigil for one of the brothers that was shot inside the Chalkline Barbershop. Another one of the white brothers. He was shot about a couple months later as he was on his way to court. Just took his little baby out of the car and took over to his grandma's house. He got shot in the driveway. So to make a long story short, tomorrow the 19th is sentencing day. So as I just take a little note here, and I've already told you how horrendous the crime were. All right? But let me tell you this. In the closing arguments, the life of this young man was presented, and the county prosecutors countered that growing up in a dysfunctional household did not excuse Shine's own choice to lead a life of escalating crime. I'm going to repeat that one more time. Because, they said that this young man, growing up, his life wasn't the best. Matter of fact, it was really downhill. And this was the mitigating circumstances that the defense was trying to get to save the young boy's life, young man's life. But it didn't work because the county prosecutor counted growing up in a dysfunctional household. How many young men do we have growing up in dysfunctional households right now? Oh, let's think about that for a minute. I know some. You know some. Lord have mercy. So how many dysfunctional households are our young men growing up in? Let's think about that for a moment now. So is Shine, even though all these horrendous crime, being a product of a dysfunctional household, what part does that play in what we're dealing with now as far as crime is concerned? Because if you look at it realistically, a lot of Shine is 21 years old. When Shine was born 20 years ago, that was the crack era. That was the heart of the crack era. So I'm sure that some kind of way he was affected in the crack era. All right, as is many of the young men that we call crazy and doing all this kind of stuff and what's wrong with them. Many of them are crack babies, born in the crack era. Now, I'm not making no excuses. I'm just, listen, if we don't dig deeper into the solutions of what's happening, then we will never understand clearly what's going on here. So every day in our community, There are young men like Shine that's doing crazy things. And we say, what's wrong with them? We must check deeper into the history of the crack baby. The mama out of the house on crack. Crack, just crack. The fabric and the structure of what we call family life in the black community was destroyed because of the crack epidemic. Yet, listen to me deeply because the professor is talking deeply today, but even in the heart of the crack epidemic, when guys like Shine and who was only 1 year old at the time, and others, as these families were destroyed and the mamas was in the street and the crack and it was just a mess, did we ever think that one day that these young men would grow up and they would be dysfunctional? I'm not saying what he done was right, but it would be dysfunctional. So what I'm saying here today is this. I'm going to lead into one thing that I say very deeply, and I mean this with all my heart. There's a message of atonement that I must talk about to the suburbanites. Listen, there's only one clear answer to rid their communities of the drug problem. Listen, they cannot legislate it out or appropriate it out. There's only one way out of this plague that has all of a sudden called heroin that's hit the suburban communities. Listen, they must atone for the manner in which they let the black community suffer for over 20 years with the addiction problem and the academic problem and the plague that we were going through, for not knowing the true pain and suffering that your families were going through that would affect your children and children's children. Now that it's our turn, we understand clearly. Forgive us, black community, and we can all heal together. That's what atonement is. Do you believe in the power of the Art McCoy Universal Radio Show and Art McCoy Now as the closer?
I believe that you have a relatively healthy broadcast, Art. That's the truth.
Thank you.
Ward 18 needs to happen. Come to grips with it, man. Come
Todd,
on.
Todd, let me tell you something, Todd. I love you, Todd, because no matter what, you continue to call, and you're a very educated caller. Todd.
Here comes a cheap shot.
No, it's not. I want to talk to you for a moment. I promise you I'm not going to hang up. I'm going to let you respond. Todd, listen, you have the opinion of white folks all over the city. They can't wait to get their hand on East Cleveland. Regentrification is so powerful. They can't wait to take this black land. They are mad that they are getting delayed. They're mad that the people are fighting back. And your view is the view of those who are ready to take this land for nothing. And here's our view. You might take the land, but at least you're going to have a fight on your hand. We're just not going to give it to you. Say, yes, a boss man, here it is, okay? And that's what Gary Norton wanted to do. Did you, by any chance, did you hear the video that with Gary Norton skinning and grinning? Did you hear that yet?
Yeah, I checked it out.
Okay, what?
He was in error. He was in error. And it gave me some more, and actually it gave me some more insight on some things that you have been saying about him in the past, okay?
Yes, sir.
So some accurate insight. However, here's my response.
Yes, sir.
Give me a minute to respond.
Yes.
Here's my response. East Cleveland, the municipality, represents a 3.2 square mile area of land. Okay.
Yes.
200 plus acres of that land is park, and it should remain park. It should be turned over to the metro park so that will reduce costs and increase the better upkeep. And then the 17,000 people that are there in that 3.2 square mile area that really has housing space for at least 50,000 people should be turned over to Ward 18. The 17,000 people can stay there. They don't need to go. They don't need to be chased out either. they're relatively respectable citizens. And I am of the belief that a lot of the crime that is in East Cleveland isn't caused by East Clevelanders, okay? And if it's turned over to Cleveland and become Ward 18, it'd be a much stronger, productive area for that 17,000 people and to inhabit that 3.2 square mile area of land, including the schools.
All right, let me ask you this question. So you're telling me that Ward 18 is a mecca?
No.
What are you telling me about Ward 18?
I'm saying it will be a better contributor to those 17,000 people
all right, so,
Ward 18 than it would be as East Cleveland.
All right, so you think the people of Ward 18 is happy with the conditions of Ward 18?
The people that are presently in East Cleveland.
No, I know. The people that you're telling me about Ward 18, Cleveland,
Ward
right?
18 doesn't exist. I'm saying it should happen.
All right, so it's gonna now that they're not gonna make a different ward. It's gonna enjoin one of those other wards, man.
Not necessarily so. There's still plenty of room for that to be argued correctly for them to become Ward 18.
Okay.
You don't think the 17,000 people that live in East Cleveland are happy as being?
No. That's not what I'm asking you.
Okay.
I'm asking you because I thought you was talking about the adjoining wards. I was asking you. All right. Let me ask you this question. Do you think the people that live in the inner city of Cleveland are happy? Some. All right. Okay. All right. So the same premise could be made that some of the people in East Cleveland are happy and some are not. True. So the same premise that you're using, like here's the premise that some of the white folks use that won East Cleveland. They said, well, only a percentage of East Cleveland voters voted. That show that they don't care. Well, darn it, the same thing happened in Cleveland. The same small percentage of people in Cleveland voted. But there it mattered. So come on, man. You know what?
I feel you, Art. I understand your argument, Art. What I'm saying, this is what I'm talking about is not necessarily talking about happiness.
Listen. I'm Todd. For the sake, I love you, but I gotta go. Simply because my phone lines are filled up, man. I only got 8 minutes. You know this radio time. Who's on the phone line? Talk to me. Fast talk.
Jeff Jackson, Jeff Johnson, Councilman, Ward 10, and others talked about East Cleveland and Cleveland merging. They didn't say they were going to make another ward. They said they were going to absorb East Cleveland, which is a big difference. When you talk about absorbing, that means they're going to bring everything into fruition. And one of the things that we talked about, you do not want a person coming in as a new mayor or another politician for East Cleveland saying, okay, we're going to do the same thing that Mayor Norton did, because that is the same thing that got Mayor Norton and Thomas Wheeler voted out, because people said, no, we're tired. Let's look at other ways of bringing in income. And if another person comes in there with that idea, unfortunately for them, heed the warning, they'll be recalled and dragged out. So just let it be known, instead of another ward, both sides were talking about absorption into Cleveland. And I live in Cleveland, and I can tell you one thing, I am not very satisfied with where I stand in the city of Cleveland.
All right.
That's all I want to say.
Thank you, my brother.
Peace.